Howdy folks, welcome to World of Warplanes with the mighty Jingles. The NDA has been lifted, we're now free to report on gameplay, everything to do with World of Warplanes. My criticisms of this game, for those of you who've been watching my War Thunder videos, my criticisms of World of Warplanes are pretty well documented. Basically, I thought this game was utter garbage. However, it was in very, very early closed beta. It was barely out of the alpha test, so it was rough, it was unpolished. It's not fair to judge a game in that state. So NDA is over, I'm back, World of Warplanes version 0.4.1, still closed beta, but they've done a lot of work on it since I last played. The flight modelling, the damage modelling, the graphics have been overhauled, so we'll give it another crack of the whip. Everybody deserves a second chance, and we'll see how it looks. And here we are in the hangar, and it's undeniably, it looks like a wargaming game. So you get into the hangar, and it looks what it's what you'd expect of a wargaming product. It's very polished, it's very well presented, and it looks very similar in feel and look to the World of Tanks hangar and interface, and that's an intentional design choice, because what they're doing, well, what the aim is that World of Tanks, Warplanes and Warships, you're going to share certain features amongst them. Gold and free experience, for example, earned in World of Tanks will be shared with your World of Warplanes and World of Warships account, so you can grind free experience on your tier 8 premiums or whatever in World of Tanks, and that free experience will be available in your World of Warplanes hangar and your World of Warships dry dock for use on on all three of the games are going to have that shared. So they're building a little community of the three games. So that's good, and certainly it does look very polished. It looks very professional, what you'd expect of a wargaming product. But there are still criticisms that are as valid now as they were when I first leveled them at this game back in very early closed beta, and that's mostly to do with the tech trees. And here's the problem with the tech trees. For a start, there's hardly anything there in the first place. This is the Imperial Japanese Navy tech tree, and half of it never existed. I mean, you start here at rank 1 with a Type 91. So, yeah, fine. Rank 1, who cares? The A4N, again, used widely, but crappy little biplane, nobody really cares. Nobody really cares about rank 1 or 2 aircraft. The A5M0, yeah, no problem, good stuff. We're starting to get some good stuff here at rank 3. A6M1 Ryzen, again, good stuff. A6M5 Ryzen, well, not bad, we're up to rank 5 now. Rank 7. What? Only 8 prototypes were produced and tested by the end of the war. Rank 8, a work of fiction. Oh, sorry, rank 7, a work of fiction. Rank 8, another work of fiction. Rank 9, another work of fiction. Rank 10, another work of fiction. Half of the Japanese tech tree never existed. This isn't World of Warplanes. This is secret weapons of the Imperial Japanese Navy. And the Germans are no better. If you look at the German tech tree, they have at least a more well-developed tech tree. These are the premium aircraft, these are the fighters, these are the TAC aircraft, but it's the same story. You've got the AR-65, rank 1, nobody cares about. You've got the AR-68 and the AGO-192 Courier, again, rank 2, nobody really cares about. AR-80, starting to look a little bit more like a modern fighter, but lightweight fighter constructed 934, fine. And then you start getting your BF-109s. The B, the E, and the G. And that takes us up to rank 6. And then, what the hell's that? Never entered mass production. Okay. Rank 8, the ME-262. Hold on a minute. This is rank 8. What's at rank 9 and 10? Works of fiction. Shit that never existed. And it's no better going down the other line in the tech tree. Look at this. Yeah, the Focke-Wulf 57, fine, yeah. Rank 2, rank 3, nobody really cares. BF-110s, okay, we're getting there. Another BF-110, an ME-410, okay. What the hell is a BF-109Z? Look at this. Would it have been that hard just to put a Stuka in there? And this is the thing, you know, they're pulling designs like this out of their arses, and there's no Focke-Wulf 190 in the fighter line. One of the most famous fighter aircraft in the world, and arguably the best fighter aircraft the Luftwaffe produced, and it's not in the fucking tech tree. What are they doing? These ground attack aircraft, I mean, look at this thing. Seriously, just fuck off. Half of the German tech tree, are blueprints. They had some of the most prolific types and designs of aircraft. There's no reason for crap like that and bollocks like this to be in the game. I mean, I appreciate that it's fun to throw in some what-if designs, but not half of the fucking tech tree at the expense of aircraft like the Ju-87 Stuka or the Ju-88 or the Focke-Wulf 190, to name but three that aren't even in there. And when we get onto the subject of things that aren't even in there, where's the Royal Air Force? How can you have a game based on this time period and not have Spitfires, Hawker Hurricanes, Bristol Beaufighters, the Hawker Typhoons, you name it, the oldest air force in the world, the only air force out of every air force in this game, the only air force that fought a long-term aerial battle, and it's not in the fucking game. It just beggars description. But quibbles about the tech tree aside, and I do have serious problems with the tech trees in this game, you can forgive all of that if it's any fun to play. Unfortunately, in my very first game, it crashed to desktop as I was loading up the battle, so rebooted the game, got back in, and as I'm struggling to figure out how to control the aircraft with a mouse aim, I get rammed by some prick in a biplane. So right away, it's already a lot like War Thunder. But, if at first you don't succeed, try again. So here I am flying Japanese Reserve. I don't even know what it's called. It's a little, technically you could call it a monoplane, I suppose, but who cares, whatever. I'm getting my bearings and I'm experimenting with the controls, and yeah, okay. Mouse and keyboard, as you can see, very similar to War Thunder. But what's going on with the graphics? It doesn't look any better than I remember it looking 6 months ago in very, very early closed beta. I mean, look at the water. It looks like somebody laid a blue blanket over the ground. And this, apparently, wait for it, yeah, that apparently is an explosion. It all just looks kind of amateurish. And this is where I ran into my first problem. So I'm setting up for a ground attack run on whatever the hell that is. Oh, and there's somebody behind me. No problem, I'll just put this thing into a barrel roll. And I'm sitting here hammering my A and D keys. And nothing's happening. But why is this thing not rolling? And then I die. So that was fun. But, let's not be too hasty. You can't really throw criticisms at a game because the default keyboard and mouse control layout doesn't correspond to what you'd expect it to correspond to from, your experience based on playing thousands of other PC games. So we'll cut it some slack on that one, and instead, this game I'm playing with the joystick plugged in. I spent £50 on a Thrustmaster joystick for War Thunder and then failed horribly at controlling it. We'll give it a go in World of Warplanes. Mouse aim works in World of Warplanes, but it's nowhere near as intuitive as it is in War Thunder. I mean, it works, and I dare say if you practice with it enough, you get used to it, and you'll get good with it. Joystick, it's not for people who've never used a joystick before. I'll leave it at that. It's no worse than trying to get used to joystick in arcade model in War Thunder, but it's certainly no better, and I just found the plane kind of went more or less in the direction I wanted to, but like in War Thunder, you can pull off the maneuvers, but good luck aiming those guns. And those sort of orange marshmallow things, that apparently is a hit effect. That's me getting shot. And as for the graphics, you know, they're very hit and miss. The previous map, El Haluf, just looks like... it looks awful. Absolutely bloody awful. This one, it's called National Park, and I think it's based on the Yosemite National Park in the USA. It's not bad, you know, it's reasonably pretty. But the effects just... they're awful. The sound effects are bad. And I could not control this bloody aircraft with the joystick, no matter how much I tried, no matter how many games I had to go. I mean, look at this. How can I not have shot that guy down? And I could jump into a game in War Thunder using mouse aim, and within 2 hours of playing, I'm racking up 10 kill streaks in reserve aircraft, fighting against aircraft 5 to 7 tiers higher than me. But in 2 days of playing World of Warplanes, I have yet to score an air kill, and it's just not fun. And you could argue, and doubtless people are going to argue, that you should have to practice at something and get good at it in order to be good at it. You shouldn't just expect instant gratification, but they've got to be able to strike a balance. I mean, this thing's supposed to be a game. You're supposed to enjoy playing it. Now, I'm going to come back to what happened after I unplugged the joystick and went back to trying to perfect mouse aim. But before we do that, here's another battle. Now, don't expect anything spectacular from me in this. After about 5 hours of game time over 2 days, I was just about ready to give up trying to control this thing with any degree of skill and precision. This map, and again, it looks alright. That's probably the best you can say about it. The water looks like jelly. And I don't know what's going on with the frame rate. I'm getting a very, very good frame rate in this, despite the fact that I'm also running this with Bandicam running, and Bandicam's a bit of a resource hog. Bandicam's great for getting small file sizes for the videos that you record, but it compresses them on the fly, so it's a real beast when it comes to your system resources. But despite that, this is actually pretty well optimized. I'm getting a good frame rate. I mean, I'm running this thing at 1980 by 1020 resolution with 32-bit color on maximum possible graphics settings in the game. I'm also running Bandicam video capture software and compressing the video as I play, and I'm still getting 40 frames per second. But why does it look and feel like I'm only getting 10 frames per second? They still need to do some work on this. Some serious, serious work. And the whole aircraft having health bars is just a big turn off for me. Here we go. Watch this. This just looks so bad. What is that meant to be? It just all looks so amateurish, and I'm having a really hard time believing that this has been coded by the same development team that did World of Tanks. Because you can level all sorts of criticisms at World of Tanks, but one thing that you can't deny is the great job they have done with the Big World game engine. It's an old piece of technology, and they've managed to make it in World of Tanks sit up and beg. What they've done with it in World of Tanks is nothing short of spectacular. And they apparently are also using the Big World game engine in this. And I don't know if it's just because that game engine is just not suitable for this kind of game, or the people coding it are not... Oh, there we go. Rammed out of the sky from behind by a friendly. It's just like playing low-level War Thunder games. Where was I? Yeah, I mean, look at it. It looks jerky. Is this just because the Big World game engine can't handle aerial combat? Or is it that Wargaming have outsourced this to an inexperienced and frankly not very good development team? I don't know. But it's just not good enough. And you can quite clearly see this guy in particular is having a great game. He's very good at what he does. You know, he's making the most of these god-awful graphical effects. Look at that wreck. It's just so amateurish. Look at that. That ship's actually run aground. And that apparently was an explosion. There he goes, and he just crash lands into that blue jelly masquerading as the sea. It just seems like such a massive missed opportunity. I really would have expected a development team like Wargaming to be able to do better than this. So much about the game just seems to have been almost but not quite. And that's, you know, that's a good thing, I suppose, if you want to look at it in that respect, because, you know, they're almost there. Maybe with a little bit more polishing, they could make this good. But they need to make it easier to get in and play. My biggest complaint with the flight modelling back when I was first in closed beta was it was just too hard to control an aircraft with a mouse and keyboard. Well, it's still just too hard to control an aircraft with a mouse and keyboard. At first, perhaps if you put enough practice into it, well, I mean, clearly there are people. See, the thing is, I don't know what this guy's doing. Is he flying with a joystick? Is this guy a confirmed flight sim propeller head who's been playing nothing but flight sims for the last 15 years? And he's using his joystick. He's got his £1,500 A10 Warthog Thrustmaster flight sim setup, and he's kicking ass because this is all he does, lives and breathes. I don't know. Is this just a guy who's finally managed to master the bloody awkward mouse aim setup? I don't know. Frankly, I just didn't have the patience to find out. The graphics are serviceable, but there's so much polish lacking. You know, they got the hangar, the whole interface nailed, because they basically just modelled it on World of Tanks, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I don't know. Am I expecting too much? I mean, it's a free-to-play game. But then again, I mean, War Thunder's a free-to-play game. And while you can certainly argue, justifiably so, that the current economic model in War Thunder is a big bag of bollocks, everything else about the game is spot on. Any idiot can jump into War Thunder and, without even having to take a look at control setup, be shooting down aircraft within hours or minutes of playing. It looks spectacular. Wargaming are just going to have to do better than this if they've even got a prayer of coming out punching against War Thunder. It's embarrassing how much better a game War Thunder is in almost every respect. The thing is, it wouldn't take that much more effort for World of Warplanes to be up there as good, strong, healthy competition to War Thunder. It's just almost there in every category. It's just that little bit of extra effort, and it could be up there. When you're fighting to try to control the aircraft with a mouse aim, you always feel like you've almost got it. No, I've been shot down again. The joystick as well. It's pretty much exactly the same boat. The aircraft's going more or less in the direction that you want it to, and the sights are almost over the target, but it's just a little too sensitive, or it's not sensitive enough, and that sort of thing. Certainly with the joystick sensitivity, you can tweak yourself. The graphics are, they're serviceable. Some of the maps are downright spectacular, and others just look horrible in comparison. It's just so hit and miss, but you definitely get the impression that it's almost where it needs to be, and it's just so disappointing, because War Thunder has had the same development time, and it's leaps and bounds ahead. And I want World of Warplanes to be a healthy competitor to it, because nothing's worse than a development team. I mean, you look at World of Warcraft; it basically has no competition, and World of Warcraft for me just felt like they stopped trying, and I really don't want Gaijin Entertainment to be in that same position, because they're kicking Wargaming's arse all over the gaming floor. I want World of Warplanes to be a good competitor, so people have got the choice, that the threat is always there that, well, Gaijin, you know, if you're not going to change your economic model, I'm going to go to playing World of Warplanes, and for it to be a viable alternative. At the moment, it just isn't. What it is, on the other hand, at the moment, is it seems to be a game that is jammed packed full of stuff that they've thrown in just to piss you off. You may recall I mentioned earlier that right after I plugged in my joystick and had a go trying to fly with that, I unplugged it and got a nasty little surprise. And what that nasty little surprise was, that after I unplugged my joystick and hit the battle button, the very next game that I got into, it tried to tell me I was still flying with the joystick again. So, yeah, that one ended fairly predictably with me flying into a mountain, being completely unable to control the aircraft. So, joystick unplugged, exited the game, back to desktop, started the game up again, and I thought to myself, not that I don't trust them or anything, but let's just make sure. I mean, you know, call me paranoid, but let's just make sure that I'm back to mouse and keyboard setup, because I'd hate for that to happen again. Nope. I've unplugged and restarted the game, and the game still insists I have a joystick plugged in. Well, no problem. I'll just, you know, select mouse control. Oh no, you won't. Oh my God, what is wrong with this game? Are they serious? They've got to be on crack. What? And it's littered with crap like this. It's just so... I'll give you another example. When you can actually select, even though I can't, select mouse and keyboard setup, your standard first-person shooter, you know, where everybody in the world places their left hand, assuming they're left-handed, assuming they're right-handed, right hand on the mouse, left hand on the keyboard. And where does your hand go on the keyboard? It goes on the WASD keys. And, you know, the W key does activate your engine boost and make you go faster. The S key does apply your air brake and slow you down. So makes sense. So the A key and the D key will roll the aircraft left and right. No, of course they don't. They don't do anything. They're not mapped to a thing. As you saw when I was flying the Type 91 with an aircraft on my tail and I was trying to do a barrel roll to evade his fire, I'm frantically hammering the A and D keys and nothing is happening. So what do you actually press to roll the aircraft? You ready for this? Make sure you're sitting down. Make sure you're strapped into your seat. You ready for this? You use the arrow keys. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with basic keyboard configuration, for a right-handed person using a keyboard, holding the mouse in the right hand and the WASD keys on his left hand, the WASD keys are on the left-hand side of the keyboard, because that's where your left hand goes. The fucking arrow keys are over on the right-hand side of the keyboard. So your basic flight controls are W, A, and the left and right arrows. Who in the name of fuck thought that was a fine and dandy default keyboard setup? I mean, yeah, sure, you can go in and remap them, but why would you need to? What moron set that up as the default keyboard setup? And I can't even go back to that stupid keyboard setup because the friggin' game still insists I have a joystick plugged in and won't let me select anything other than a joystick which I don't have to control the game. So I can't play the game anymore. And you know what? I don't care. I really don't care. Because, oh man, this just isn't fun. And that's the disappointing thing about it, because it could be fun. It could so easily be a lot of fun. There's not that much wrong with it. But the stuff that's wrong with it is so bloody aggravating. Playing it just pisses me off. And well, you know, I can't play it anymore now. It won't let me select mouse and keyboard. And I'm not plugging the joystick back in because it's more trouble than it's worth. So, yeah. World of Warplanes. Oh dear. You really must try harder. In the meantime, I'm going back to War Thunder.